Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Kind of a cloudy and overcast day. It's sprinkling on a little bit, so we'll get what we can get done here. So my intention for today is to move my air prune beds over to this chicken area over here somewhere to get ready for planting seeds that I'm getting from my propagation class that I'm taking with Akiva Silver. And get those ready today. Throw some compost and whatnot in the boxes and just get them ready to start planting seeds to overwinter there and then grow in the spring. We'll see how that goes. Like I said, it's overcast and kind of rainy today, so we'll film as much as we can. I know I haven't really filmed a lot of the garden this year, but we did pretty well this year. This bug netting really worked out for a lot of things. Here's what's left of our one tomato bed. Tomatoes over there, cucumbers. Getting pretty big, aren't they? Look at those. But everything used that trellis pretty. These cucumbers grew up this trellis, and we were getting cucumbers every stinking week. Been having an issue with squirrels eating the tomatoes. We'll find one finally starting to get ripe, and it's got a big old gnaw mark in it where one of the squirrels had decided to take a bite. Haven't really got a lot of squash or zucchini. The biggest producer in this bed has been the patty pan squash, which has been working out pretty good. Now, as I've said in the past, we don't really get a ton of sunlight over here. Oh, there's a patty pan right there. Look at that. Yeah, buddy. So a lot of the issues we've been having. There's a pumpkin hanging off the trellis. It's doing really well. These tomatoes over here have been doing really well. But again, the biggest issue we've had is squirrels or chipmunks eating them. Here's our pepper bed. They're finally starting to put on. Like I was saying, we don't get a lot of sunlight, and that's been the biggest issue. Here. Pumpkin. I think that was a volunteer. This is all volunteer stuff over here. Here's where I planted, you see the willows, and then to this side we have the elderberries all the way down that are doing fairly well. A whole row of sweet potatoes. They should be ready to go here pretty quick. And then another volunteer cherry tomato. I'm surprised the comfrey over on this side isn't doing real well. I mean, it's growing, but not growing very prolifically like it is up against the house. Not sure why. I mean, it is what it is, right? But this is what we're moving. These boxes, so let's get to it. Oh yeah, I don't know if there's my chip drop. Wood chips. That's actually two. You can see the difference in them. The second drop we got, I wasn't impressed with the wood chips. They didn't chip them up really well. They were like big chunks. But it is what it is. We still used it, and we're using it now. So, and this will go for in our fall. Once we pulled out all this stuff, we'll throw this in the chicken run. I've been thinking about putting a permanent fence around the chickens, and just putting wood chips in there for them to scratch up and then turn into mulch. Like they're doing over here with the hay right now. Or actually, that's straw. Yeah, thinking about just making this a permanent fence and then letting them out in the summertime. Anyway, let's get these boxes moved over there where I can make use of them. Oh, my little mason bee house. Started kind of late with that, but maybe it'll get used next year. So I had a little currant plant down here that just wouldn't grow and wouldn't grow and wouldn't grow. This pineapple sage got big and put it in the shade. Not that it doesn't like shade, but just the other day. So here's the one I just dug up from that spot that I just showed you. And there's the one that was over here in the middle of the row. I got them at the same time. One grew, one's hanging on. I figure I'd pot him up and see what happens. Maybe he'll do better in better soil. And I also didn't show you, I don't know if I showed you these before. These are our kiddie pools. This one has salad greens in it, and spinach and whatnot. This one's kale and I forget what else, but these are for our fall garden. And of course the Tunde King cherries. Here we are along the front of the house. Little comfrey, Dahlias. I don't remember what all this stuff is. Looks like we got some tomatoes that fell over. This is on a concrete pad, so this tomato cage doesn't really sink into the ground, but about yay far. It's about as far as it goes. Oh, look at this guy. He's still producing. Like I said, these don't really go in the ground, but they do assist in keeping these upright to a great degree. But here we are, cherry tomatoes. I love them, or at least they're good anyway. All the sunflowers. This is Jerusalem artichokes. I keep waiting for them to bloom. About 10 foot tall. So that's 6 foot, and I'm assuming that's 10 to 12, right? Oh, that's not a 6 foot fence. I'm only 5'7", so it's about a 5 foot fence. Alright, so I haven't really decided where I want to put these. Need to put them out of the way. I mean, they're just going to be sitting out here all winter. So I'm thinking about like over here where the chickens are right now, and this is where the fire pit used to be. This is kind of the low end. A real issue, and I was thinking about it, so I've mentioned in other videos that we don't get a lot of sun. So being that it's hazy out today, so let me just stand here. This is like the middle of the side backyard, right? So that's what we got. This is the east, right? So the sun comes up over this way. Shade, shade, shade. Then right overhead we get about 2 to 4 hours of sunlight. And this is the west. So right there, right? But this is a propagation bed to stratify the seeds over winter and then sprout in the springtime. These trees don't get leaves until later on in the spring, which is when these would start coming up. I think that this would be a fairly decent area to put these for at least for a while, and then I can move them up here. So kind of right there where see the mulch line right there, that mulch hill, that's kind of where we get sunlight the most. The garden area, we get the most sunlight. It's around 4 to 6, could be higher, hours of sunlight in the summer. What's up, girls? This is just some garden soil. It has some thicker chunks in it. Just to keep that, put that on the bottom. Try to keep the compost from going through when it rains. It just has a little coarser material. We'll put this on the bottom. So, I had said in a previous video, one of our hens ended up being a rooster. I had to come out here, we got rid of it, took it to another farm. He's got a good place to stay, with about 200 chickens, 400 chickens, sorry. It was interesting. They're all free range, so it's all good. He's in a good spot. But I had to come out here and capture him when we took him out. Actually, it was Monday. No, it was 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks Monday. So after that, after we had to snatch him up, these girls hadn't been getting close to me. Every time I'd come in here, they'd go run and hide somewhere. I guess it was pretty traumatic for them to see Butch get snatched up, put in a cage, and driven off. They were pissed. They were not coming anywhere close to me. And just the other day, they started getting closer and closer. And as you can see now, they're right here. So it took them almost full 2 weeks. Like I said, this is Sunday. Tomorrow will be 2 weeks. They weren't speaking to me, so to speak. I'd get some scratch and throw out some scratch, and they just kind of keep their distance. So, like I said, everything I'm using is organic. I don't know about this sand. I don't know if you can get organic sand. I mean, it's been washed. It's stone, so I'm not really that concerned with it. It's just to add some drainage, the ability to drain, and oh! This is potting soil. And this is, except for the sand, this is all stuff that I've had left over. Alright, so all I'm really doing here is mixing this in. I have the layer of the thicker, coarser material on the bottom. I have this another layer of less coarser. It's just garden soil. It's a coarse garden soil, and then a garden soil that was less coarse I put as the second layer. The third layer I made of just play sand, and then I put potting soil in. And again, this is all stuff that I had left over, and I'm these top kind of 2-3 layers I'm going to kind of mix in together, so the sand kind of mixes in with the potting soil, which kind of mixes in with the garden soil. That's what I did over here on this other bed. And the idea is to have a well draining medium. Now granted, these boxes have 1/4 inch hardware cloth on the bottom, so well, I guess I didn't really explain that, did I? So let's talk about these air prune beds that I've made here. So these ones here on the bottom have a 1/4 inch hardware cloth on them. This one right here has a 1/2 inch hardware cloth on it. This is going on the top. So the idea is you fill it up with dirt, put your seeds in, your roots grow down, hit this air gap, and self-prune, and then they bush out. So these ones on the bottom are smaller, again 1/4 inch. These ones here are going to be the top, which is going to sit on it like this and keep out squirrels and chipmunks. Those little, you know, I've made these boxes, you know, 2 feet by 2 feet that I feel are fairly manageable for me. They could possibly be smaller. That would probably be a benefit if they were smaller, trying to move them around. But this is what I chose to go with, was 2 by 2s. You know, like I said, I thought it was, they all fit on the gorilla cart, which is great. And hopefully, you know, this is going to work out for me. Like I said, I'm taking a propagation class by Akiva Silver, who has a wonderful book called Trees of Power. I'll put a link to it in the description, just because I love it. I love the way he writes. I hope he writes another book. I found it so incredibly informational on how to propagate trees. You know, this can be used for all types of things, not just trees, plants of all kinds. I'm probably going to use, I have another bed that I made that's 4 by 2 that I think is just kind of unwieldy, that I'm probably going to use this year as well. Probably going to put elderberry cuttings in it and other plant cuttings that I want to propagate as well. And we'll see how that one does. Like I said, it's a lot bigger. I'm going to use this for the seeds that I get from Akiva. I like it, so let's keep going. So the idea is to keep enough room and get your hand underneath it. That way, when the roots hit this mesh, they prune themselves. And if there's too close of a gap, they'll just hit the ground and start continuing down. So after I plant these boxes, I'll put this on here and just screw this down, and that'll keep it solid, keep it in place, keep the wind from blowing it off. I've been trying to decide whether I'm going to use this for a spacer, because these are 6 inch, actually 5.5, your standard board size, and these are 8 inchers. I like the 8 inch better. I might make some 6 inch spacers though, just for these. I don't know yet. Well, there you are. There's my air prune beds. Probably plant them. Probably put the seeds in them this fall at some point. Probably send a message to Akiva just to ask the best time. You know, not knowing I would already be doing it, but it probably needs to be cooler. Like I said, these are so that the seeds will stratify. There are some seeds that need cold stratification to germinate, and there are some that don't. But I'm gonna go by the book, so to speak. You know, I have a guy that's been doing it for 20 years, and doing it well, it appears. So I'm gonna follow his instruction, and I'll let you guys know how it goes. Till next time, thanks for watching.